All right, time to get started. It's 11:56 a.m. on Monday. It's not 8 a.m. It's 11:56 on Book Club with Caden Kelly. Welcome to the first ever later than 8 a.m. episode. I'm doing it right now because I said last week, if you remember, that I think it might be a good idea to do this a little later in the day. I had no idea when, but I have a crew of kids cleaning carpets now, and I have to get them all pumped up and ready to go in the mornings. And my 8 a.m. start time was a little interfered with that. So it's not priorities, right? You got to organize your priorities, and cleaning, getting these kids ready to clean carpets is a priority. This podcast is a priority, and what's more flexible is the start time, because this is my gig. This is all, I'm the only one here, and so I get to choose what I want to do. So I might be doing it around noon from now on, or I might be doing it in the evening time. But you can always plan on Mondays because we got to start the week off right. I liked doing it early. It was weird to come home from the gym and do white glove stuff and not podcast right away. In fact, I was like kind of hungry for some Monday morning motivation. That's what we were going to call it, right? But, now it's book club with Caden Kelly. So yeah, it was weird. I was coming home and but it gave me a chance to kind of recenter and get focused for the podcast and for work and for the week in a different way. So I don't hate it. I got my mind dialed in a different way. So plan on probably noonish or evenings or just anytime. Just if you want really to just follow along, you could turn notifications on for when I go live on YouTube and on Facebook and on Twitch. I'm live on all three of those. So wherever you're watching, turn the notification on, but it'll be Monday. And in the last few weeks, I've just posted the episode on Spotify and Apple Podcasts right away as well, because I do the 15-minute clip right after this one that I post on Instagram right away. That one, you can find that podcast, or the podcast. That podcast is called "Here's the Point" with Caden Kelly. That's on Spotify, Apple Podcasts under that name. But that's so. Anyway, things are changing around here. We're evolving. We're evolving around here. So but we're gonna be here every week, except for next week. I will not be here next week. I might have to just postpone. I'm either gonna skip next week's, or I'll do it on like Friday or Saturday. Probably Saturday. Actually, it'll probably be Saturday or Sunday, and then I'll do next week's book the following Monday. Uh, that's just, I just got shit to do next week, so I won't be able to be here Monday. But I think I'll probably still do that, or I'll do what I did a couple weeks ago when I was sick, and just be postponed a week and do two in a week the following week. I don't know. We'll see. But that's where I'm at. Book club with Caden Kelly. It's been a wild month. I just came back from Vegas, lost a lot of money, and lost a lot of sleep, and whatever. Vegas can suck it. Honestly, I don't love going to Vegas, but my girlfriend just graduated nursing school, and that's where we went. That's where her family wanted to go to celebrate, so we followed along, and it was wonderful to celebrate a really hard thing that she did, and she's awesome and deserves a lot of credit. So kudos to her, and Vegas can suck it. So we got back last night, and we're back on the grind for another week. Should I keep plugging my blog, because it has links to all of my stuff, right? CadenKellysBlog.wordpress.com. If you go there, you'll see all of I was doing like daily entries for a while, and I should get back in the habit of that. And actually, maybe I'll commit to doing that, because of the book that I just read that we'll be talking about today, called The War of Art, and I realized I didn't tease it last week. That's my bad. But today we're going to be talking about The War of Art and by Steven Pressfield. And that was, that got me pumped again to write. So if you go to my blog, you'll see all my old entries from a few months ago. And haven't been writing. I tried to turn my focus to TikToks. And I think I've centered my focus on the Here's the Point with Caden Kelly, because I want to hit all of the different levels of audio, of people's attention. People either give 3 seconds to TikToks, or they'll 10 seconds to 60 seconds really into TikTok, or they'll give 15 minutes on an Instagram video, or they'll give an hour plus on a podcast. So or they'll just read, or they'll go to a blog and read. So I was trying to do the other videos. I was trying to make TikToks. I think I'll end up just making, for now, with the time and energy that I have, I'll focus on this podcast. Here's the Point, the 15-minute that's on my Instagram and its own podcast. And then I'll probably start the blog again because of this book. So that's where I'm at. The blog. You could go there to find links to all the other shit. And then that's it, pretty much. So Brooke Kelly, good morning. Yeah, keep up the blog. I'm planning on it. Mashed potatoes. Oh, man, why you got to do this during lunch? If it's during lunch, you could just show up, right? Just turn it up. Put your headphones on and turn it on. Wait, what are you doing during lunch normally? I know you're not playing video games. Hey, B Moon, welcome. Thanks for showing up, you guys. So, yes, last week, I read The War of Art, Break Through the Blocks and Win Your Inner Creative Battles by Steven Pressfield. It was like a 2.5-hour read, and I read it a little. I did the audiobook a little bit last week, mostly read it on the drive to and from Vegas, and really easy. And it's kind of interesting. It's like what are those? It has excerpts. It's not really chapters. It just has. Well, okay, and we'll talk about it. It was an interesting book. Let's talk about Steven Pressfield first. I wonder if there's a biography. I don't think so. It's a really popular book, and I'm kind of, what shocks me is when I have had this on my my want to read list for a while, and recently Rogan talked about reading this on his podcast, and it became the number one book on the Apple Books for however long. It might still be there. Actually, I kind of want to see. That's his influence. Jeez, it's crazy. So his, let's see if it's still on the charts, because it wasn't. It was Atomic Habits was at the top of the list, and then when it's not there anymore. The top audiobooks right now is Endure by Cameron Hanes, which, spoiler alert, is next week's book. Yeah! A Rogan simp over here. I've actually had this pre-ordered for like 8 months when he announced that he was writing it. So that's next week's book. It's also the number one audiobook in audiobooks right now. I don't see The War of Art, though, on here. Green Lights by Matthew McConaughey is still on it's number 5. I read that before I started the podcast, close to when it came out, to when he released it. That was a really good book. Some good life lessons. And then Atomic Habits, number 6. So that one's been on there for a while. Yeah. Lots of books, Rogan's books. Oh, look at this. Rich Dad, Poor Dad's number 13. This is cool. Anyway. So, The War of Art, though, not on the top of the charts anymore. A good book, nonetheless. I did find a little biography of Steven Pressfield. He is the author of Gates of Fire, Tides of War, The Afghan Campaign, The Profession, The Warrior Ethos, and Turning Pro, among others. He is a former Marine. Oh. In 2003, he was made an honorary citizen by the city of Sparta in Greece. Cool. He doesn't talk about any of that. He did I know he did an episode on Rogan. Rogan talks about Pressfield a lot. So yeah, he mentioned reading this book, and then one of his other ones, I think it was The Profession. But Rogan says that this one was much better. And Pressfield says about himself that he mostly writes fictional books. And this was one that was kind of against the tide, I think. It was published in 2002 by Stephen Pressfield. So, yeah, cool. 20 years of evolution through this book, but the principles are awesome. Brooke, I started it yesterday. I'm loving it. You started the Cameron Hanes book. What I like about it so far is it's got tons of pictures. Well, I haven't started reading it, but I've thumbed through it. And yeah, it's a fucking picture book. He's got pictures everywhere. Flip anywhere, you got pictures. If you follow him on Instagram, it's probably mostly just his posts. It's his whole life is documented basically on his Instagram. Most of his accomplishments, I'm sure. His hunting trophies, everything. So I think this is anyway, we're not talking about that yet, but yes, I'm excited to read that one. So let's talk about the War of Art. And to be especially motivating today, I want to invoke some. I want to invoke your innermost desires. Yes, that's right. And you don't have to tell us what they are because that can be gross. But the point of this book is to break through the blocks and win your inner creative battles. The book was written from a creator standpoint, but it holds a lot of weight for pretty much whatever you want, whatever you aspire to, whatever you want to accomplish. So as I was listening to the audiobook and reading along, when he talks about artists and creators, he only writes about the artists and the creators, but he will in the audiobook, because this was written in 2002. I think the audiobook was released in 2012. He includes artists and creators, and then includes entrepreneurs. So really, the point is, you can apply these principles to whatever you want to do, even though it's the context is from a creator standpoint. So anyway, just think about this to yourself. What have you wanted to do? What have you wanted to start or create? What hobby or passion or business or education that you've wanted to pursue? What have you been? What's interested you over the years in your life that either you've started and given up on, or started and don't put so much time into, or haven't started, or wherever you're at, or started and work on it consistently and are focused on it all the time? Where are you at by accomplishing your innermost desires? Because I ask this because a common theme from most, if not all, of the books that I've covered, that I've read, talk about, well, again, my focus, I should have this just like in neon lights behind me. What I'm trying to, the point of this podcast, first, is to keep me accountable to reading books and to learn their lessons and apply them. And then second, to inspire you to optimize your health, your wealth, your peace, and your wisdom. And again, I change the order every time, so I'm always keeping you on your toes. But health, wealth, wisdom, and peace. What can we do to optimize these things? That's why I read a lot of these books. And again, I'm biased. I buy books because I like Cameron Hanes. I don't seek a lot of controversial text, and I should, and I have. I did the Christian book a couple weeks ago, I actually thought about just reading the fucking Bible and talking about the Bible, but that would take. Anyway, spoiler alert. I might read the Bible. So there's lots of wisdom in all these books, and a theme through most of them, if not all of them, is if you want to be happy, healthy, wealthy, or wise, and I shouldn't say happy, I should say peace. If you want to experience peace, you have to understand your inner values. You have to understand what brings you what you desire, or what you I don't know how to describe values. You have to you have to work towards what fulfills you, what gives you meaning, what gives your life meaning, and that looks different for everybody. Some people like to create things. Some people like to have really good relationships. Some people like to be teachers, creators, whatever it is. What are your values? What do you value, and are you working towards them? So when I talk about what can we do to meet our innermost desires, what I'm saying is, what do you value? What are your values? And the point of this book is to help inspire you to realize those things, to win your inner creative, or to win your inner battles. So that's what we're doing. That's how, and the book is broken down into what those battles are, how we overcome them, and then how we gain momentum with overcoming them. So that's pretty much the book. So, but just consider for a second, what do you value? What do you desire? What do you want to accomplish, or create, or study, or profess, or whatever? I wonder mashed potatoes. I wonder what percentage of people really know their innermost desires. That's a really good question, and I think the answer is much lower than we think it is. Just to speculate, if just for myself, really, I don't really know everything that I desire, and I'm like constantly thinking about it, and I'm pursuing this education of sorts, and I want to optimize these 4 aspects of my life. And so I've spent a lot of time considering what I desire, what I aspire to become or to be, and it's changed. It's even over a year. It's changed, but I think more than anything, it's been refined. I think I've refined it to a few things that I really desire, that I want out of life, that I want to accomplish, that I want to feel. So I don't think I've even figured it out 100% for myself, but I think the majority of people, especially in today's world, especially with some of the content that we've covered, very, 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 very few people even consider what they value, or what they desire, or what they aspire to, or for, or to be, or whatever. I think very few people realize I didn't know that, or I never considered that if I wanted to be at peace, I have to learn how to accept suffering and accept my lot in life, and still have a good attitude to be a happy person or a peaceful person. I'd never considered my innermost desires. I never meditate. It's been almost a year of meditating only. I started doing yoga in July 2021, and so I've still like figuring out how to meditate and to consider I'm still trying to kill my ego, because we'll talk about ego in the book too. Ego has a profound impact on the quality of our lives, how we view ourselves and how we view others. So yeah, I guess to answer your question, I think very few people know what they desire or what they aspire to, and then even fewer are probably able to reach those things. But the point of living a meaningful life is to consider those things, and to adapt as they adapt, and then to pursue them. I guess for example, in your situation, you have a family, so assuming you value your family, you'd want to seek their well-being and their peace and their success and whatever, all those good things. And I'm just assuming this because I don't want to make an ass out of you and me, but I think it's a safe assumption. So the things that you do in your life, are they bringing you closer to helping your family be in a good place, to be healthy, to be successful, to be at peace, whatever? And if you value your family and their well-being, and then the decisions you make every day don't bring you closer to that goal or to that desire, then you're directly moving yourself away from your own well-being and peace, right? That's just an example. If you understand that, I want to be, and then if you want to get deeper, you got to ask yourself, why? Why do I want this? Because people will say, well, I want to be healthy, but why do you want to be healthy? Well, I want to be strong. Well, why do you want to be strong? Or I want to be really smart. Well, why do you want to be really smart? So this is your responsibility. This is everyone's own responsibility. They have to consider their desires and then break them down to their core. That's what your values are. What do you desire? Break it down. Those are your values. I want to be strong, or I want to be really fit. Why do I want to be really fit? Because I want to be able-bodied and healthy for as long as possible. Why? Well, because eventually I want to have a family, and I want to be strong and be able to provide for my family. Why? You see where this? And then because I value relationships and I value my kin, and I want their success. This is a value. It just comes down to your values specifically. And I'm going overboard, but that's why we're going to read this book. That's what we're talking about. You need to spend your own time considering your values, considering your desires, and the actions, the decisions you make every day. Do they bring you closer to those things, or do they take you away? Is it detract? Do they detract from your values and your what you value? Mashed potatoes, I feel like specifically is... Oh, whoops. I feel like specificity, that doesn't sound right. Specificity. I know that's right, but that doesn't sound right. I feel like specificity is the other important factor. Once you know the desire, how do you achieve it? Yes. It takes, absolutely. Brooke, I would love to hear podcasts that discuss your interpretations of the Bible. Yeah, I think that would be good too. And instead of doing like the whole Bible, maybe just do like a book at a time until the whole Bible is done. That's where I've thought too. Because, and I'll just say this too about scriptures. I don't know if you've listened to some other episodes earlier, just within the last few weeks, but Mashed Potatoes and I have had good discussions about God. And your point, really, I know you're a dweeb sometimes and you make funny comments, Mashed Potatoes, but your comment about perspective has stuck with me, because when you talk about interpretations, you talk about like, why do you want to reach your values? Even just what we're talking about right now. They are an interpretation of why you feel this way, of why you want to accomplish those things. So even if you want to talk about your family again, you say, I want to live with my family forever, and then why? And it comes down to this. It comes down to this value of family and eternal life and eternal happiness, and that's just an interpretation of a path. But I guess what I'm saying is, after reading that Christian book and then reading the who was Epictetus about Zeus. It's all interpretation of pretty much the same idea. It's perspective. And some people believe their religions literally and their ideologies literally and spit hellfire at those who don't believe their religions. But removing that perspective, eternal life is an interpretation of the Stoics. Having peace in the universe is an interpretation of reaching nirvana in Buddhism. It's all interpretation. It's your perspective. Yeah, I'm going off, but yes. I think And after reading Jordan Peterson's 12 Laws of Living, the 12 Laws, whatever that book is called, he makes a lot of biblical references as well, and which at the time I thought was annoying because I still have a poor attitude towards religion, but I'm trying to break through that. I can see looking at Bible stories just as stories, they have really valuable insight. Just secularly, you remove God and remove the spiritual side of it, which is not what people want to do, but that's just how I am because I'm cynical and I don't want to be, but I am. The message and the lessons are they're the same thing that you learn from Buddha and from the Stoics and from atheists and from Christians. It's all this, they're all, I think really most people are trying to say the same thing. They just use different mediums to get there. They have different perspectives. Again, some people believe, I've always believed in everything literally. I did Mormonism literally, and I think that's why I've become so cynical, is because I just took everything literally, and some people do. I'm not saying you shouldn't, and I mean, maybe your religion is supposed to be taken literally. All I'm saying is when I look at different aspects of religion like Buddhism and Stoicism and atheism, I don't take them literally, and I learn a lot really valuable lessons from them. I think I could do that with Christianity as well. That's all I'm saying. Too long of an explanation. But yes, Brooke, I hear you. You also said, I think age is a good measure for value. Things become clearer the older you get. Yeah, you become wiser, and it's through lessons learned and experiences had, right? But I want to become wise now, or just work on it now, so that when I'm 50, I'm even more. I'm still learning, but years ahead of where people are that become wise just through experience, rather than learning from other people's experience. Oh, hey, B Moon, I got you off mute now. Give me the 15-word synopsis of what we've talked about. I've talked about religious interpretations and your values, how you find your values, why it's important to understand your values, and the decisions we make to reach our values. And we haven't even started talking about the book, which we're going to do right now. The War of Art, Steven Pressfield. All right. Even though it's not broken down into chapters, it is a stereotypical book that has 3 parts. So the book, the parts rather, are separated into Book 1, Resistance, Book 2, Combating Resistance, and Book 3, Beyond Resistance, Beyond Meat, Beyond Burger, Beyond Resistance. So because it is all excerpts, it's really easy to go back and refresh yourself on specific elements. And the way I like the way I broke it down. I could cruise through it in 10 minutes probably, which will be nice for here's the point. But with us right now, I'm going to do a little bit of dissecting into each point. So in the intro, Pressfield said, "You don't think resistance is real? Resistance will bury you." He says, or I say, it's not writing that's hard. It's getting yourself to sit down to write every day that's hard. Yeah, this was just all precursor to what's coming. So, Book 1, Part 1, Resistance. He shares a ton of characteristics of resistance and then shares symptoms of resistance. And so I just have them, I have them listed right here. The first characteristic of resistance is invisible. And in the book, there's a paragraph of his explanation of why resistance is invisible. And some explanations or some excerpts are longer, like 2 or 3 pages or 4 or 5 or whatever. But some are just, a paragraph or a sentence. So let me go through the characteristics. And first, before I do, no, I'm going to go through the characteristics first. Characteristics of resistance: invisible, but can be felt; internal, self-generated and self-perpetuated; insidious; implacable. Ooh, I think that was supposed to be a different word. Insidious. Yeah, implacable. Or is that implacable? IMPLACABLE. Whatever. Mom, you're an English teacher. You can tell me. Infallible, impersonal, universal, never goes away, aims to kill, fear-based, only works one direction, backwards, most powerful at the finish line, and recruits allies. Symptoms of resistance include procrastination, distractions. The symptom he says is sex, and I took sex and said distractions. Self-dramatization. I think he says sex. Actually, I could tell you why he says sex, but resistance and sex. Why sex? Because sex provides immediate and powerful gratification. When someone sleeps with us, we feel validated and approved of, even loved. Resistance gets a big kick out of that. It knows it has distracted us with a cheap, easy fix and kept us from doing our work. So I took sex and turned it into distractions. So that can be drugs, that could be TV, it could be video games, it could be a hobby. It's just distractions, right? Yeah, this is the last sentence says, it goes without saying that this principle applies to drugs, shopping, masturbation, TV, gossip, alcohol, and the consumption of all products containing fat, sugar, salt, or chocolate. So, all distractions. More symptoms: victimhood, criticism, self-doubt, fear, isolation, healing, support, rationalization. Healing is an interesting one. So resistance, about resistance. Resistance is pretty much everything that gets in the way of you accomplishing a task. And I think he does a really good job of explaining the elements, the characteristics, and the symptoms of resistance. So characteristics being how we define it, and then the symptoms being how we experience it. So in any case, here I'm going to plug values again. When you consider your values, and like Mashed Potatoes says, once you specificity is important. Once you know the desire, how do you achieve it? It requires first it requires consideration, then it requires action to get closer to your values or your desires. Anything that prevents you from moving forward or from even considering your values is resistance. And resistance is everywhere. The first example that comes to my head is like going to the gym. You go to the gym and, getting to the resistance to going to the gym out. What I mean to explain is at the gym, all of your options are forms of resistance. Weights, machines, bands, pull-up bars, everything. Rowing, treadmill, everything is initiating resistance. And you become stronger by moving things that resist. So, for example, today I went to the gym and did this kettlebell workout that included even better than that is the fucking sled. You know, the not all gyms have them, but you know, it's like you put weights on this little platform and then it has poles and you push the sled around, and that shit's heavy and it's literally resistance. It's easier to walk from point A to point B, but you decide to grab the poles and push this heavy sled around. The sled is pushing back against you. This is resistance. So if you want to get stronger, you need to initiate resistance. And initiating resistance always sucks. It's always uncomfortable. Always. Either it's mildly uncomfortable or it's severely uncomfortable. But resistance always sucks. And it looks like a bunch of different things. Procrastination, distractions, not specific to the sled, just in your aspect of life. Why are you not moving your metaphorical sled? Why are you not making decisions to realize your values? Procrastination, distractions, self-dramatization, self-medication. I take the self-dramatization as woe is me, or the world is out to get me, pointing fingers, blaming external things for why you're not doing something. Then that's victimhood as well. Criticism, self-doubt, fear, all of it. It's all resistance, whether it's valid or not. When he says healing, he's I'll go to this section on healing too, but when you are isolation, healing. So healing, it's an interesting principle because the first thing that comes to my head in this regard is self-help days or mental health days. There's a clip going around about Rogan saying something about mental health days where you got to take paid. There's like, I can't remember the exact context, but taking a day off of work, a paid day off of work for a mental health day, and his right-winged brain, monkey brain says, go to work and work hard, something like that. That's his response. So, but the reason that you are not working and working hard is because of healing, of this taking time to heal. It might be valid. It might be a valid excuse, but it's still resistance. It's still preventing you from working on or moving towards whatever you're going for. I'm not advocating for people to work themselves to death because that's not how I feel. You go listen to earlier podcasts about Do Nothing by Celeste Headley. Did that one twice. I immensely value balancing your life and your plans and your schedule and understanding your values. So instead of chasing what you think will bring you happiness, you understand your values and make appropriate decisions. Like if your goal is, I want to be rich. Well, why do you want to be rich? Right? This is breaking down the fucking desire. I want to be rich. Why? Because I want to buy lots. I want to go on lots of vacations. Why? I want to go on lots of vacations because I want to have a greater understanding of different cultures and how different systems work. You don't need to be a multi-billionaire to do this, right? It's only $700 to fly to Europe. So the point is, you don't need $1 billion to reach that value or to satisfy that value. You just need to have enough. So that's the point of the book. Balance, understand your values, and make appropriate decisions. That's the whole fucking point. Hey Moon says 1,100 right now. Okay, well, still not a It's not $1 billion. It's 1,100 to get there, and then how long are you staying there? It's going to be several $100s to stay there, and then you got to eat, whatever. The point is, going back to this Rogan's comment and healing, it's resistance. So, it might be valid, it might be legit. You might need a mental health day, but it's still resistance and keeping you from so if your goal, your value is actually to go to Europe, to travel the world and understand all the different cultures so I can be a more informed human and more empathetic, whatever, and you decide to take time off because you need a mental health day, well, you're one day further from getting the money and the tools to do that. Whatever. It's a stupid example, but it's true. I love a good PTO day, as do I. Except I have never had a PTO day. Must be nice. So yeah, that's an interesting thought about resistance and healing. Taking time off to quote unquote heal is still resistance. So, what do you value, and what forms of resistance are holding you from moving towards that, to your desires, to your aspirations? Were there any other worth mentioning? Fear-based resistance never goes away. I've talked tons about distractions. Everything in life is a distraction, and I think the best thing that we can do for ourselves is control our distractions. Not eliminate them, because it's impossible, because everything is a distraction in some sense. It's a matter of knowing what's distracting us. I mean, how many times do I got to repeat myself? It's about knowing what you desire and then making the appropriate decisions to do those, to get there. And then, are the things that are distracting you keeping you from making those decisions, or are they encouraging you? Because distractions aren't inherently evil. It's just resistance. So if I have a desire to live a healthy lifestyle for whatever reason, I still have Instagram, and I can use Instagram to better exemplify that value by following the right people, by following healthy people and healthy pages, exercise pages, diet pages, mental health pages, whatever. So all sorts of different ways to use your, we got a new follower. Still no pickles, bubble bass, bubble bee ass. Hey, I heard the stream to come smoke too. Time to get baked. Cheers, bro. Hey, all right. time to get baked. Thanks for showing up, Pickles. What the fuck was I saying? You get the right distractions. Have the right distractions. Does it be, or at least understand what the distractions are and use them to your advantage. Yeah. I don't need to beat the book one into a pulp, but resistance, it's insidious. It never stops. It's working 24/7. Most powerful at the finish line. All right. Let's move on. Book 2, Combating Resistance. Here he paints, I'm going to get some water. It's weird. I don't have coffee. Doing it later in the afternoon. I got water. Can't do anything without resistance. That's exactly right. You wanna be healthy. It takes resist. You gotta go to the gym. Like you can't just say it and it's manifest. I think that's a common theme for all self-help crap. You can't just talk about it. You got to do it. You got to be about it. In fact, I'm having a memory of a book recently that was like a major point. It takes a lot to actually. It takes a lot of energy and focus to work on your shit and to figure it out. Caught my friend slinging cheese at houses earlier. When I tried to stop him, he nailed me with one to the dome. Slippery bastard, innit? Yeah, dude. All right, let's keep going. So when it comes to resistance, he illustrates two personalities to overcome it or to combat it. There is the amateur and there's the professional. So here's some notes that I took in this regard. The principle of priority. I think this kind of goes into ties into distractions. A, know the difference between what's urgent and what's important, and B, do what's important first. Peterson, whose law is it? Maslow's law about a hierarchy of needs. Peterson talks about having a hierarchy of values. Same thing. So that's what this is. The principle of priority. Know the difference between what's urgent and what's important, and do what's important first. Here are 10 principles of a pro. We show up every day, no matter what. well, these are: 1, we show up every day; 2, no matter what; 3, all day; 4, for the long haul; 5, the stairs are high and real; 6, is that what is this supposed to be stairs? I'm gonna check. Self-medication. Part 2. Oh, I skipped it. That's okay. I don't need to keep going. Stairs make sense? Yeah, okay. So the stairs are high and real. That's 5. 6, we accept remuneration, payment for our labor. 7, without ever we don't identify with our jobs. This is what a pro does. Mastering the technique is 8. 9 has a sense of humor, and 10 is recurve blame and praise in the real world. I think I meant to say receive blame and praise in the real world. Gotta keep climbing no matter how high. Still no pickles. You're a good time in the chat. That thangin' in this emote. Yeah, for sure. So, aspects of the pro. The whole part 2 is each aspect is its own section in the book. So, I'll just go through them again. Aspects of the pro: patient, seeks order, demystifies, acts in the face of fear, accepts no excuses, plays it as it lays, prepared to confront self-sabotage especially, doesn't show off, masters technique, asks for help, doesn't identify with their art or enterprise, doesn't take failure or success personally, endures adversity like humility, self-validates, more like self-sovereignty, I said, has control of themselves, recognizes limitations, themselves. I don't know why I just said themselves. And recognized by other professionals. So, again, when it comes to, well, I should say, too, the book was written for artists, for creators, but consider whatever it is you're trying to aspire to, whether you want to be a painter or musician, whether you want to start a new business or monetize a hobby, or you want to pursue an education, whatever it is, you're able to, you should be able to identify a pro from an amateur. And an amateur rather, is everything less than what this list is. An amateur is not patient, doesn't seek order, holds mystery to what's the opposite of demystifies? Remystifies. Acts in the face of fear. That's what a pro does. An amateur is either not going to act in the face of fear, or waits until the fear passes, or cowers, whatever. So anyway, yeah, I don't need to keep beating all this to a pulp, but yeah. When it comes to combating resistance, you need to be a pro to master it, to master resistance, not to master whatever it is you're achieving. You just need to master the resistance. You need to be a pro at overcoming resistance, at combating it. That's how you get the best results, and that's really how you get shit done. Show up every day, no matter what, all day, for the long haul. The stairs are high and real. We accept payment for our labor without ever identifying with our jobs. We master the technique. We have a sense of humor. We receive blame and praise in the real world for our efforts. I just got to... oh, no, we're good. So yeah. I mean, it's worth going back and actually reading the book and reading each section, because each point he's got good comments. So yeah, I'm gonna keep going then. Book 3, Part 3, Beyond Resistance. So you're able to recognize resistance. You've developed adequate tools to combat it. What happens after it? Here's a couple notes. Invoke the muses. He talks a lot about the muses. Invoke the muses by getting started on whatever it is your soul is begging you to do. It's another Greek god story about I think it's 10 daughters of Zeus. They're called the muses, and they're what inspire humans to create or to innovate. And removing that from, again, looking at it objectively, humans have a desire. Honestly, I believe evolution has produced humans to be creative and innovative because it's allowed, through evolution, it's provided humans to move forward, not really to be better than other animals. I think all animals have a desire to, at least to create and innovate. That's actually, now that I'm saying it out loud. Okay, whether we're conscious of it or not, all animals are creating. So, like beavers build dams, they create dams. Why? I don't know, but they do. Do they innovate better dams? Do they learn how to develop steel so they can make steel dams? No, they're satisfied with their wood dams. I don't know why, but evolution has developed beavers to build dams, and the evolution has developed bees to build beehives. Do they make cities out of it? No, I don't know why. But humans, through our sentience or whatever, have created tools throughout thousands of years and have eventually created cities. And now we have this social construct as well with governments and hierarchies and whatever. Whether it's the muses or whether it's Mother Nature. See what I was talking about interpretation earlier? This is the interpretation. Did Mother Nature invoke a sense of creativity and innovation in humans, or was it the muses? I don't know. But in any case, we have what we have. Humans create and innovate. We have a desire to do it. And if we don't do it, then we are neglecting what our soul wants to do, what we desire, whether it's artistic creation or whether it's business creation or innovation or whether it's any other kind of pursuit. Whatever you value it for some reason, whether it was it invoked in you by the gods or God or the muses, or whether it's an evolutionary trait. We have it anyway. That's the point, right? This is perspective. So, again, to read that comment I made, invoke the muses by getting started on whatever it is your soul is begging you to do. The ego likes the way things are. The self craves to create. In this part, he breaks down two identities between the ego and the self, which I'll talk about a little bit here. Again, the ego sucks. Lots of people have been talking. A lot of the books that I've read have talked about ego and how awful the ego is in the effort to live a healthy, peaceful, wise, and wealthy life. The ego is basically the antithesis to all of those things. The ego doesn't want to create and innovate. It doesn't want to make decisions to progress. It actually doesn't even want to. It doesn't want to face resistance. It likes the way things are. It wants to be comfortable. It blames everybody else for its problems, and takes no accountability. But the self is the opposite of the ego, whether it's your soul or whether it's nirvana, whatever. It's your identity, how you identify. The self, your soul, wants to create, wants to search, and this is the illustration he makes. So he says the ego believes that death is real, time and space is real, every individual is different and separate from every other. The predominant impulse of life is self-preservation, and there is no God. That's what the ego believes. And I'm not saying I agree with it. I'm just saying that's how he says it. He says the self believes the opposite, that death is an illusion, that time and space are an illusion, that all beings are one, that the supreme emotion isn't self-preservation but love, and that God is all there is. So, to break down, like the title says, to break the blocks and win your inner creative battles, embrace and empower the self-identity and not the ego identity. Don't be egotistical. Identify with yourself. Work with what your soul, as he says, what God is, the gifts that God has given you. He says that here later on. Let me see. Direct quote I took was, "We are who we are from the cradle, and we're stuck with it." Close quote. It's our destiny to discover what it is our soul wants to do. Yep, that's what I said. The labor in the arts for any reason besides love is prostitution. Would you do what you do if you were the only person on the planet? Don't do what you do to impress anyone else is the main intention, as the main intention. Would you want to do the things you're doing because if you were the only if you're the last person on earth, would you continue to do what you do because it is would you continue to do it is the point. And if the answer is no, then you're probably doing it for other people. You're doing it for your ego. You're not doing it for yourself. If you would continue to do it after being the last person on the planet, you're probably doing it for your identity, for yourself, to improve yourself, to reach your inner goals, to be at peace, right? I think that analogy is very wise. Would you do what you do if you were the only person left on the planet? He says, don't cheat the world and God of the gifts and talent you possess. It's really our response. If you want to be happy, if you want to have peace, understand your values and work towards them. And he says that God has given you these gifts, and you are doing God a disservice by not exemplifying these gifts. Again, I have I might disagree with what he said. He said earlier that here he says the predominant impulse of life, as the ego would say, is self-preservation. And I think evolution promotes this. Evolution, I actually think, if I'm remembering all these books right, evolution, the reason that we want to do anything, the reason why we want to impress anybody or be accepted in social groups, or Robert Sapolsky's text, Behave, he said, I might have got that mixed up, but we do what we do to fit in with our tribe because we don't want to die. We want to be accepted, and the chances of survival skyrocket when you're accepted by your tribe. So really, we're kind of hardwired to impress other people and to be a useful, helping hand, and wise, and to innovate and to create, because evolutionarily it had advantages and survival was higher. He says that that's what the ego says. I think that's a law by nature. At the same time, he says that the self believes that the supreme emotion is love, and I don't disagree with him there. I'm just saying that the intention for why we primally do anything is to receive validation and acceptance in our tribe. But because we're sentient beings and we can think about these things, being altruistic, it enhances our chances of survival, but it also brings peace and camaraderie with your tribe. So yes, we should be altruistic. We should do well by our peers and our family, because not just because it enhances our chances of survival, but because it enhances the lives of everybody around us, right? Maybe the ego is selfish and says, I only do well because I am only thinking about myself. But the self says, I do well because I want to enhance the lives of others. I think that's probably better said than how he wrote it down. Mashed Potato says, "Isn't there some value in doing things for other people though? Like if it was just me, I'd work less, but I'm providing for a family, so I work more. But I find that fulfilling." Did I just answer that question? Isn't there? I'm just seeing the comment. Isn't there some value in doing things for other people though? Like if it was just me, I'd work less, but if I'm providing for a family, I'd work more. So I work more, but I find that fulfilling. Yeah. Yeah, if you were the well, I mean if you're the last person on the planet, and you didn't have your family to take care of, would you keep showing up for your land surveying job? I yeah. Maybe what about if you were the last family on earth? You know, you become at the Adam and Eve or the Moses of the modern era. Or is it Moses? Who's the one? Noah. No, it wasn't Noah's family, the everyone died off, so it was just Noah's family after the ark. Adam and Eve is a good example though. If you're the Adam and Eve of the new world, it wouldn't be and maybe I'm assuming wrong, but it wouldn't be land. It wouldn't be your job. It wouldn't be land surveying that you would continue to do. It would be whatever it takes to provide for your family. So that's why you go to work. You go do land surveying, probably because you like it. You have to enjoy it to some extent to continue to do it, or you live a miserable life. But most people supersede that by having value attached to their job by saying, I do this job, I endure this job because I want to provide for my family. So if you were the last person on earth, would you continue to land survey? Would you still write, townships and stake territory if you were the only person on the planet? That's what we're talking about here. Maybe I don't fucking know you that well. Maybe you would. Maybe you love land surveying that much. Maybe that's what brings you just deep inner peace and satisfaction and reward in life. But I think the point is what are you trying to create? Like for me, just for an example, however you'd say that. If I were the last person on the planet, I would probably continue to read books. I would probably try to keep reading like how to be at peace with myself. Because I'm not doing this to impress anybody. I'm doing this to optimize my health, my wealth, my peace, and my wisdom. That's why I read the books. And if I were the last person on the planet, I would keep reading the books because they help me reach those values. They help me be wealth wouldn't matter if I were the last person on the planet. I wouldn't have to keep reading finance books. There would be no point. But understanding the mysteries of God and the universe, you being the last person on the planet, considering where I'm going to go after life and how do I experience peace through this immense amount of suffering and loneliness. Yeah, those are things I still want to learn. That's just an example. Mashed potatoes. Well, I don't know if it's a perfect question because would you clean carpets if no one was alive? Haha, I love my job, but it's pointless if there's no people. Yeah, I would definitely not be cleaning carpets for empty houses. No, that's so here's the point though. So here's the point. And this is what I'm going to be saying in the podcast called Here's the Point with Kate and Kelly, but here's the point. Beyond your job, are you doing what brings you peace? Are you doing what satisfies your value, what brings you closer to your values? Doing the things that you aspire to do? Like, do you love mountain bike? Do you want to be the best mountain biker on the planet because of other people, or do you want to be the best mountain biker because that's what your calling is in life? That's what God has ordained you to do, or what your soul craves the most. Do you desire to be the best marble sculptor of all time? Do you desire to create the most effective software to do something on a computer? I don't know, to like the best AI to do like the best Siri? Do you want to? What's your life calling? Are you doing those things on top of your responsibilities? Because you can. No, I don't want to talk to you, Siri. That was just a joke. Are you doing what your life calling, what your soul is calling for, on top of the responsibilities that you have to meet every day to live and to be in a functioning society? So like I wouldn't continue to clean carpets or run a carpet cleaning business if I was the last person on earth. That would go away. But I would continue to read books and exercise and keep my mental fortitude strong, my physical fortitude strong, and yeah, and be able to meet my values that way. So, but because I'm not the last person on earth, am I doing those things anyway? I have to have a job. I have to pay the bills, keep the lights on, and I have lots of other things to take care of that I don't care to do, but I have to do. Am I still doing the things that I value at the end of the day? Do I still make time to show up every single day for those things that I hold with the most amount of value? And ideally, you turn the things that you value the most into a monetary solution. So you become a pro at doing those things. People will pay you to do them. You like combating resistance. Part of it was accepting remuneration. I don't know how to say that, but receiving payment for your labor, for your work, for your creation, to sustain you, so you can keep doing it. Are you doing it for the money? Because if money's the end goal, why is money the end goal, right? It's a kind of a funny dynamic, but that's the point of this book is, like another example, because I talk about Rogan and all the time anyway, I'm going to keep talking about him. He says, part of I've heard several guests ask him about his jobs and does he love his jobs, and he says yes. They all of his jobs meet some kind of desire or aspiration that he has. As a UFC cage fighting commentator, he's a fighter himself. He watches the fights already. He has a really good understanding of previous fights and knowledge and whatever. So yes. So cage fighting, yes. Stand-up comedian, I don't know what his values are, but he probably loves entertaining people, making people feel better. Yeah. So he meets that need. Then he does the podcast where a lot of it is just bullshitting with people, but a lot of it is also exploring deep concepts about the human experience and also UFOs, but also why whatever. But the point is his job is his several jobs are what bring him life satisfaction. Cleaning carpets doesn't bring me life satisfaction. It pays the bills so that I can do this. So the goal in a perfect world is doing what your soul desires and getting paid for it, so you can put all your energy and attention into it. You live a higher quality of life, and everyone else that you impact is their quality of life is increased because of your work. So, yeah. I don't know if... Oh, hey, B Moon. Random question for the end of the pod. Quote, everyone disappears on Earth. You only have the skills you have now. How long do you live? Okay, I'll ask that again at the end. But that's the point of the book. And that's this. I'm going to tie it up with what I said at the beginning of the podcast. Do you understand your values? Do you spend time contemplating them? If you don't, you should, because that's how you live a peaceful, healthy, wealthy, and wise life, is by understanding what you desire, your values, and then making good decisions to reach them. So I'm going to come back to what you just said, Mashed Potatoes. Maybe land surveying isn't your end-all, be-all for life satisfaction, but providing for your family is. So, if you were the last person on Earth and your entire family died, then maybe you don't have any purpose left to live. So you just fucking kill yourself. So, but if you have other things that you live for, and you live for it for yourself, not for other people. Your ego does things. Your ego lives through other people. Your ego tries to impress people. Do I read these books because I want to impress you with how smart I am or how wise I am? Well, if that's the case, then everybody dies, or everyone disappears. I'm the only person left. Who left do I have to impress? If I don't care to do it for myself, I'm not going to keep doing it. That's the point. Beyond resistance is, do you do it because it's for you? It's for your life. And I'm being this to a pulp, but I love the principle behind it. Love what it is you do, or do things that you love, regardless of the outcome. If you do it because you love it and you need to do it, then the outcome doesn't matter. Whether you're Van Gogh and you create masterpieces that never sell in your lifetime and create and collect no money, I guess there's an argument to be made that he lived kind of a miserable life. Didn't he fucking cut his own ear off for a girl? He's kind of a psychopath. But he created a bunch of art, because it was his calling. And Beethoven created music because it was his calling, but he also got recognized for it and started making money for it. He had a rough time. Yeah, Van Gogh had a rough time. So, but are you doing what you do because you love it and because regardless of the result? Like, do you play video games because you just fucking love it, or do you do it to impress your friends and to get sexy clips or whatever? Why do you do what you do? Right? That's all of it. Why do you do what you do? Does it make you a healthier, happier person, or do you do it to impress other people? Do you do it for money because you hate it, or even though you hate it? Whatever. Just, easier said than done. Do what you love. But there's resistance that comes with it. That's this fucking book. There's resistance that comes with pursuing what you actually love, what you need to do. There's resistance. Recognize it and combat it every day. And I gave you all the examples of how to combat it. I'll give it to you again. It's from part 2. Show up every day, no matter what, all day, for the long haul. The stairs are high and real. Accept remuneration don't identify with your job. Master the technique. Have a sense of humor. And receive blame and praise in the real world. I hope I'm doing the book justice. I feel like I'm not doing it justice. But I want to read the aspects of a pro again from part 2. A pro is patient, seeks order, demystifies, acts in the face of fear, accepts no excuses, plays it as it lays. Yeah, no excuses. Prepared, doesn't show off, masters technique, asks for help, is not afraid to ask for help, doesn't identify with their art or their enterprise, doesn't take failure or success personally, endures adversity, self-validates, recognizes their limitations, and is recognized by other professionals. That's the art of war. Whoops, that's the war of art. Backwards. That's the War of Art by Steven Pressfield. Break through the blocks and win your inner creative battles. It pumped me up while I read it. So like I said at the beginning, writing, why do I write? Why do I want to write? Well, it's part of the reason why I do anything that I do with the podcast. One, it's a mode of accountability for me to contemplate the thoughts that I have. Writing it and sharing it is a form of accountability for myself. Like I show up for the podcast every week because it forces me to read the books, to contemplate them, and then to learn their lessons, and then to try to apply them. Writing does the same. In fact, writing invokes a skill that not a lot of people possess today, which is critical thinking. Not a lot of people are great critical thinkers, and writing is an excellent exercise to sharpen your critical thinking skills. So, critical thinking is a very important trait that I want to possess, and it trickles all the way down because I want to make really good decisions. I want to understand the complexity of a problem and make good decisions. I want to do it for my business. I want to do it for my health, my wealth, my wisdom, and my peace, right? It's the shit. I want to make good decisions for myself and for my family, for the things that I value. So I want to write. I'm gonna take the lessons from this book, apply them directly to myself, and I'm gonna continue to write. And because Pressfield's an author, he talks about his what he does as a writer. Oh, and I just remembered episode with Gad Saad on Rogan. They say similar things. They show up and they write every single day, whether they write a masterpiece or they write dog shit. They write every day. and maybe they don't share it all the time. I like to share it because it keeps me accountable. Am I doing it to impress you as the reader? If I am, that's my ego, and I'm not going to have long-term satisfaction from the effort. If I do it because I want to understand complex problems or the mysteries of the universe and make good decisions from them, I will do it even if I'm the last person on the planet, because it'll help me understand what the hell is going on. Why are things the way they are, and how can I make better decisions with the information that I have, or the whatever. So plan on me writing more. Plan on it. That's it. Whether it's short, or whether it's short and stupid or long and brilliant, just plan on it. That's the book. We're done. Next week, already spoiled it, we're reading Endure by Cameron Hanes. How to work hard, outlast, and keep hammering. Sounds like it's going to be very similar to what we just read, and I did not plan it like that. Otherwise, I would have separated the themes a few weeks apart. But it is what it is, baby. We're reading Endure by Cameron Hanes. I might do the podcast either later in the week, next week, or I will be doing it the following week, which is June 6th. Wow, we're almost in fucking June. So plan on that. Find my blog and both of my podcasts rather at cadenkellysblog.wordpress.com. That has access to both podcasts, all the writing that I do, my Instagram, which I post. Here's the point, the 15-minute video, if you want to watch it there, or you can go to Spotify and Apple Podcasts to listen to it for 15 minutes, whatever. Yeah, that's where all my shit is. So, but yeah, plan on me probably, it's either going to be June 4th, 5th, or the 6th for the Cameron Hanes book. It is what it is, baby. Sorry to keep you waiting. Mashed potatoes, keep hammering. We going erotic? Yeah, you don't know. You don't even know who Cameron Hanes is, bro. I got his hat. I'm going to wear his hat and his T-shirt for his podcast. Hey, B Moon, I got to send you a TikTok about that book. Okay. About Cameron Hanes? I bet it's anti-Cameron Hanes. A lot of people don't like the motherfucker, and so whatever. I'll take it, whether it's positive or negative. I'm trying to be better about taking information in that I disagree with, because it's easy to just accept your confirmation bias and not listen to opposing perspectives. So whatever. It's not. Sweet. I'll take it anyway. Go do something challenging this week. Go fucking start. Just go start on whatever it is that you want to do. For me, I didn't know I wanted to do this podcast. I just knew I wanted to start reading more books, and doing the podcast helped me stay accountable to that goal. So whatever it is, whether you want to be healthy, go make understand the value, go make conscious decisions to be healthier or happier or peaceful or wise, whatever it is. Go contemplate your values and then make decisions to be better that way, to be closer to those values. You won't regret it. You just won't fucking regret it. Brooke Kelly, the book this week is very similar to Endure. It's a good lead up. Cool. That's all. I thought I was gonna get more out of you today, but probably next week if you're reading this book with me. So that's all right. Endure next week, or probably 2 weeks. In the meantime, yeah, go contemplate your values and make some lifestyle changes. You'll be happier for it. And it's just, if you have a hobby or a business venture or an education you want to pursue, start small, but start making choices every day that bring you closer to those things. The truth is, it's going to take away from some things that you're already doing that that are entertaining, but that don't bring you closer to your values. An example for me is I do this podcast and I am running this business that I have, and I play much fewer video games. But that's a consequence of working towards a value something that I value. I like playing video games, but it's merely a source of entertainment. It doesn't bring me deep, everlasting peace. It's just entertainment. However, I've said this before. I still, um, I gotta take this call. I play video games though because I take it as a source of not education. I take it as a source of camaraderie when I play with my friends. So anyway, I gotta take this call. So I'm gonna end the podcast here. Go do something challenging, and we'll see you in a couple weeks.
で読み直しているだけがで読み直しているで読み直している